Hello everybody, my name is Gabby Turner, and in today's pick a card reading we have 4 options. I haven't done 4 options in a while. And we're going to be looking at what is your past life with this person that you're asking about. Hello to everyone who chose option number 1. You chose this card with this sun cat on it, and we'll be looking at that in a moment. That's going to be the stack that has to do with glimpsing into a future lifetime you might share with this person. Now, I have a lot of other cards to look at. We have a pile here that's going to represent you in the past lifetime, a pile here that represents them in the past lifetime. Of course, this is a group reading, so for some of you, those energies could be switched. And these cards that we're starting off with, which I'm going to zoom into, these are going to indicate more just like the general overview of what this past lifetime was all about. I do feel that, okay, what I'm getting first of all is I feel like in that particular lifetime, I think for you guys, this was a romantic connection in that lifetime. Whatever it happens to be in this lifetime, it could be something totally different. But in that lifetime, there was a romantic connection between the two of you, but I feel like it was unfulfilled. On your end, I think that you probably were already in a relationship, and it was a pretty, solid relationship is what I'm picking up here. But I also feel like it was the type of relationship where you're kind of like doing the right thing. You married, I feel like it's probably a marriage. You married the person who you were expected to marry, and it was a good relationship. But I do feel like there were some sort of romantic energies between you and this person. I feel like they came into your life and maybe set your passions alive and were very inspiring to you. This might have been something in terms of like chivalric love, or like courtly love. Courtly love, I think is what it's called. Like back in, I think it was in medieval times, people had this idea that a lot of times the most like romantic or like idealized form of love was actually basically unfulfilled love in terms of a relationship. It would be a love that was outside of your marriage a lot of times, and people just, not necessarily a sexual affair. It may or may not have been, but there was this idea that this was the most idealized form of love. Like, when people are like in love with love, or like these poetic notions of what love is, like poetic, passionate ideas of love, that's what this was, I feel, that was between the two of you. But I feel like this person was kind of much more independent. They may or may not have settled down into a marriage themselves. Either way, I feel like they were very much a free spirit. And I think you were someone who, for whatever reason, maybe because of societal expectations or your family's expectations, or because of this marriage that you were in, I feel like you had to delay your own passions in a way. But I feel like this person who you're asking about in that lifetime, they were much more capable of going off into the world and fulfilling their own inspired, their highest hopes, for themselves. I feel this probably was a very creative person, someone who got a lot of attention, maybe someone who did some sort of entertaining or was involved in some sort of art form. They could have also been someone with a lot of leadership ability, but they got a lot of attention. This was someone that people paid attention to, and so yeah, I think that you were probably not someone that people paid much attention to. You were much more, kind of quiet and demure. And when we look at the back of these cards, the keywords are delay, worry, and originality. This is this person's energy. Feel lighthearted and free while trusting that your unique way of doing things is the right way. That's the kind of personality that this person had, and that was their approach to life. But I feel like you delayed a lot of that. I think you actually had this aspect in your personality as well, but you didn't feel free. Again, I think for a lot of you, a lot of it could have been due to confidence at some level, but I think also just due to societal expectations. It says delay, confront the natural tendency to delay the finishing of a creative endeavor. Now this deck is called the Creativity Oracle, so a lot of the cards have to do with creativity, but and then the general energy here between the two of you is worry is attachment to a particular outcome and the fear that it will not come to pass. So I feel like that was kind of like the energy that was between the two of you. It caused maybe a lot of anxiety, I think especially maybe on your end, or like just a feeling of lonesomeness, you know, that this person seemed to be going off and like accomplishing everything that their heart desired. I don't feel that you were like sad or anything. Like you had abundance in your life. I think you had beauty and fulfillment in your own sort of quiet way. And some of you, maybe you weren't actually married to someone else, but there were a lot of obligations to your family or something like that. But I just feel like the romance between the two of you didn't get to be fulfilled in quite the way that you wanted it to. And that this person was probably on your mind a lot. Okay, so let's look a little bit more at each of your energies. Let me back the camera up here. I have a lot of cards, so let's see how we can do this. I'm going to pause so I can kind of lay these out. Okay, so I've got these cards, and this is kind of describes this person, who they were in that lifetime. And this is interesting because I'm going to use some clarifiers here, because either they were different from what I thought, or like, because seems very different from that kind of free-spirited, creative person. You may have thought that that's who they were, but in actuality, because maybe you didn't actually get to know them very well in that lifetime, they were someone totally different. Let me try to figure out what it was. And that'll describe the personality that I'm getting here. Okay, let's see here. Okay. I think that what it is that mostly what it is that this kind of like free-spirited, nonchalant, non-committal energy, that's more so what their energy was like towards you in terms of this romantic interaction. Like they may have written you poems or serenaded you or something like that. You know, they may have expressed themselves artistically in some sort of way. The sun here also kind of indicates that. So you may have seen more of that side of them, the more like romantic side of them. And to you, that might have been like most of what you may... That sort of painted the picture for you primarily of who this person was. But in actuality, there was a lot more going on with them, which was kind of very serious. I feel like this was someone who actually had a very serious life path. They had a career that they took extremely seriously. They weren't necessarily a very lighthearted person. This was someone who's very deep. We have Saturn in the 10th house. So it was someone who's very career-oriented. Saturn in the 10th house is oriented towards career. And it's not necessarily about getting attention. This is about someone who feels this responsibility, like this very strong responsibility. And this person felt that there were wounds that needed to be healed in the world. We have Exorcist, freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Healer, you have the spiritual gift of healing and a desire to share it with others. Support, your life purposefully supports you. Wounded, and introvert. You know, they came across to you probably as more extroverted because maybe they weren't shy about showing you their feelings or showing you this sort of creative side, this creative and original side of who they were. But in terms of like fulfilling all of their potential, they were very focused on it, but it was much more about seriousness and responsibility than it was about self-expression. There was something within them that they needed to unleash, but it was that they needed to unleash this power to heal. And I feel like it was not necessarily a one-on-one type of a healer, like a doctor or something like that. I feel like it was more of this is someone who wanted to heal the world, or who wanted to heal large groups of people who had experienced a lot of trauma or a lot of difficulty. Like, this is a world changer type of an energy to me. They saw things going on in the world that they felt like needed to be shifted, and it made them feel wounded. You know, maybe they were a part of some oppressed group, or they just felt the pain of some oppressed group. And I think this is someone who really thought about these types of things a lot. They were actually very engrossed in, you know, just their mind was always very occupied in thinking through, like, you know, what can I do to make the world a better place? I feel like to you, you just didn't as much see that side of who they were. Maybe they didn't talk to you about that. I feel like in their interactions with you, it was a lot more playful. Maybe they saw you a little bit of a way of distracting them from this heavy, very serious, responsible energy. You know, you brought out a side of them where they felt like they could kind of be free to be like more kind of lighthearted and playful. Yeah. And I also feel like some of the thoughts that they had in their head about the troubles in the world that they wanted to change, they didn't want to burden you with that, because I feel like they did see you as being burdened with other things yourself already. Yeah, and also I think they thought, if I tell pile one all of what I'm really involved with, because I feel like the two of you probably didn't even really know each other that well, but maybe you crossed paths at some point, and there was sort of this romantic, poetic thing that happened. But I feel like with the King of Wands reversed, they didn't want to, because they were extremely successful. You know, whatever they were doing, like, they were supported in doing it. So they did get the attention of other people as someone with some sort of expertise or ability to hold the vision and bring about tangible results for whatever this big change was, this big healing that they wanted to do, this massive healing or, you know, massive transformation that would be affecting a lot of people for the better. I think they didn't want to seem boastful or like they were bragging, or they may have seen that whatever your circumstances were in life, that you wouldn't have had the same opportunities, and maybe they just didn't want to rub that in your face. They did see that, they knew that you were someone who had a lot of goals. They knew that you had a lot of hopes and dreams that you felt were unfulfilled. And they were fulfilling theirs, but not quite in the way as what you thought. It wasn't so fun and lighthearted and, you know, fun and games type of fulfillment of their dreams. It was just responsibility, taking on burdens, doing hard work, like lifting the heavy weight. All right, so that's what I'm getting for their energy. That's interesting. Let me pause again to pull out your cards. All right, I'm glad I paused because that took way longer than it should have. All right, So we have victim, first of all. It says prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. You may have been a victim in some sort of way, but I think in a lot of ways you were sort of a victim of circumstances. I think, like I said before, a lot of what you wanted to achieve or what you had the potential of achieving felt very limited or blocked. Yeah, I think the circumstances just didn't allow you to fulfill certain things. We also have Earth Guardian, stay rooted and grounded, part of Fortune, ninth house, faith, and spiritual teacher. So you were an extremely spiritual person. I think you probably weren't a spiritual teacher, though, actually, because like I said, I don't think that you got to fulfill yourself in a more worldly sense than what this person was able to do. You were seen for your beauty. We have Libra, beauty, and Scorpio. Like, I feel like scorching hot beauty, like sexual charisma. Yeah, like you were just like tantalizing. And it may have been partly due to physical beauty, but like with this Scorpio vibe, it's also just like people were very drawn to you because there's just something that seemed very sexual about you, like just very sexually alluring. But I think for you all, like it was much more channeled into your spirituality. So you may have had like a very awakened kundalini, you know, and like that can come across to some people as like a strong sexual energy. But I feel like you just felt like, you know, pretty comfortable in your own, like in your sacral chakra. Let me see. Yeah, I feel like you were also like very spiritually connected to nature in some way. I get the sense that you may have been informed by certain more traditional spiritualities or religions, but I think in a lot of ways you kind of went your own way. You know, you kind of figured things out in a little bit of a more intuitive way about what was right for you spiritually. But you had a lot of spiritual knowledge. You just understood things. You're very connected. Get the Justice coming up again, and we already have Libra here with the scales. The Justice card is associated with the sign of Libra. You also, you know, this person had, they were very justice oriented as well. You also had those kind of mindsets. Maybe for you, it was something that you wanted to channel more through spirituality to sort of balance out certain wrongs in the world somehow through the use of spirituality. You may have been someone who prayed a lot or used some sort of spiritual power or spiritual connection that you had to influence positive change in the world. So I think it's interesting. I think both of you probably didn't know that about the other. You may have not been doing it in a way that was publicly seen and recognized like this person was. But in a quiet way that maybe nobody really knew about. You were using spiritual power, magic, prayer, I don't know, whatever it was. Like you were tapped in somehow to the world in a way in which you really had a powerful impact yourself. Even though you weren't, like I said, I think a lot of people probably just didn't even know about this. Not just this person, but this may have been a side of yourself that you really kept hidden from a lot of people. Yeah, you were extremely intelligent. That is for sure. You read a lot of books, I think, as well. Like, you were extremely informed. But I think you were one of those people who knowledge came to you not just through books, not just in that way, but also through this kind of just more intuitive sense of knowing. Or, you know, you may have been connected to spirit guides in some sense. or just got messages from the natural world in some sort of way. But you never had, I feel like you probably didn't have an occupation. Your everyday life was probably more domestic. You know, on the surface, that may have just been what people knew of you. But you had secrets, and your secrets were that you were involved in some like powerful spirituality, witchcraft, or something. You know, it could have been any number of things, but like it feels like power. Like you could tap into power and actually like move things in the world, you know, like change things, like cause certain events to unfold or not unfold, or cause certain transformations. Because I think that you and this person both had this sort of interest in being world changers. People, you both were people who like saw that there's a lot of hurting in the world. A lot of people, you know, don't have access to, you know, the opportunities that they need. So you actually, you know, you may have felt sorry for yourself a little bit sometimes that you didn't have certain opportunities to fulfill this in a different kind of way than you did. But at the same time, I feel like you saw that other people didn't have opportunities. Like sometimes people didn't have like their basic needs, you know. People may not, you saw like, well, in the world, because I think you did have, you know, material abundance. You know, your needs for like food and shelter and that type of thing were met. But I think you saw like there are people in the world who don't have enough food to eat. You know, like there are people living in poverty. There are people who don't have access to education, stuff like that. And you wanted to change that, is what I feel. So interesting. So why did you come into each other's lives if you both had this sort of similar approach or like mindset, but you never really got to see that about each other? I feel like for some reason you were supposed to, it was just meant to be about the passion for the two of you. If the two of you had gotten involved in some sort of world change together, for example, you probably would have argued with each other a lot. Not that you didn't, I mean, you had the same overall goals, but maybe your approach was different, or your mindset about certain things were different, or there could have just been like ego clashes or something. And in some lifetimes, maybe that would be what you would need to experience in order to learn from that. But for you guys, it's more about like the recognition of the passion. The passion for the two of you in that lifetime was meant to be felt through this romance that was, in a sense, unfulfilled, but also it's like it never got weighed down by the responsibilities of a long-term relationship. So it was allowed to be just like romantic and poetic and dreamy, you know, and have this really nice chemistry. The two of you were not really meant to have a family and have those types of duties and responsibilities together. Your souls wanted to be able to experience each other, like to light each other's fire. You may have both, just in meeting, even if it was brief, you lit each other's fire. So you probably caused each other's sort of like kundalini to ignite or rise. This definitely could be like soulmate or twin flame type of thing, because a lot of times those type of relationships, that's the primary purpose, is for that person's kind of spiritual energy to meet ours, and together it pushes each other's energy upward into a more ascended energy. It ignites some sort of fire in the other person in terms of, fulfilling your soul's overall purpose. That if your energies hadn't met and come together, that ignition wouldn't happen. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, so the last thing we're going to be looking at, I know we have tons of cards all over the table. This is always how it ends up being in my readings. They're like cards everywhere. But anyway, we're going to be looking at a future lifetime. And we're not looking at the current lifetime because you already know what the current lifetime is. But a future lifetime, I feel like there is like, let me clear the space because in order to really see these cards, we need more of a calm background. One moment. Okay, so this is still group 1, but we're glimpsing into your future lifetime or a future lifetime with this person to kind of see the themes of why the two of your souls choose to incarnate together and help each other to develop throughout lifetime. So I'm going to read the back of these cards first because it says confidence, obstacles, and innovation. And then this card says Syrians, artistic integrity and honesty. I feel like in your future lifetime, the two of you are really going to be able to like reap the benefits of all of the effort that you've put into creating a better world. And I think in this future lifetime, there's going to be a lot more, you're going to feel much more optimistic, like it may have felt, in this past lifetime, maybe even in your current lifetime, that it's like, oh, no matter what I do, the world's just not going to change. These awful things are always going to exist. But I feel like in this future lifetime, it's like because of the level of integrity that the both of you have shown individually, and because your souls chose to come together and to help each other be ignited within your incarnation, that you chose to support each other in that way, you're going to be able to share a future lifetime where the world is not perfect, but the world will be much better than it currently is. Some of the issues that the two of you have worked on will be so much better. And maybe it'll be here on Earth, maybe it'll be in another planetary system, but whatever the circumstances are, they're not as dire as what your souls have experienced before when you've incarnated together. So there's this level of confidence. And although there will still be work to do, there will be still things that need to be changed, at the soul level, both of you will have built up this level of confidence that allows you to be so much more strong. I do also feel like probably you all do have some sort of lifetime connection to Lyra, because I see cats here on both of these. And this was the card that you chose because it just happened to be laying on the top of the stack. Also a bird. Birds are strongly associated, birds there, with Lyra, which is a very passionate, a lot of people who have had incarnations in Lyra tend to be very passionate because there was also a lot of need to make change there in Lyra and things didn't work out. So a lot of the people who have a connection to lifetimes there where they were trying to fight against forces of evil on Lyra do have that underlying, like, just this strong driving passion of we can't ever let that level of evil and corruption win again, But in the future lifetime, like I said, it just feels there's going to be more of an ability to take a little bit of a rest and just enjoy the fruits of life more. Also, I feel like the two of you might be able to work together again in a way that is a little bit more about self-expression and or just romance. Maybe you get to experience romance a little bit more together in this future lifetime. But lots of confidence is what I feel. Anything else that we should share about this future lifetime and the kind of general theme of your soul's purpose? Yeah, this will be much more satisfying. It'll just be a much more satisfying experience overall. I think that the two of you will get more of an opportunity to learn from each other as well. And that's kind of an overall theme also for your souls. You definitely come into your incarnations to teach each other, to be each other's teachers while you're in your incarnate existence. You also, part of it is you teach each other how to connect back to Source as well. You each have like your own unique way of connecting to Source while you're incarnate. But it's complementary to each other. And that's why when the two of you sort of ignite, it creates this, it ignites this fire, and it creates such a strong passion between the two of you because your energies are just extremely complementary. You definitely are meant to trigger each other's awakenings and to introduce each other to certain concepts that you'll need within the incarnation. So one of you might come across a particular concept during an incarnation that the other hasn't come across yet. You'll sort of influence each other to learn about things that each of you needs to learn about. I do sense like both like very wisdom and knowledge, gaining of higher knowledge is a strong interest for both of the two of you. I think you've been incarnating together for a long time. Yeah. You've also had lifetimes where you had to part ways as well. Yeah, you've had lifetimes where you've parted ways, and it's been a little bit sad. I think your souls find it a little bit sad in the lifetimes where you do have to part ways, where you're not incarnating together. But when you come back together, it's always like a very joyful thing. It always brings back a lot of fire and passion. There's definitely a strong soul memory. I feel like in the lifetimes when you don't incarnate together, I feel especially this person that you're asking about, it feels to them like something is missing. And I feel like when you do incarnate together, this person gets a little bit possessive of you because there's this sort of like this soul memory within them of you being more willing to move on. And maybe that even happens within the lifetime as well, that you seem a little bit more detached and more like, yeah, I don't really want to leave you, but yeah, it's just what I got to do, like both at the soul level and also within the lifetimes, a lot of times. But it's interesting because in the past lifetime that we looked at, it kind of seemed reversed a little bit, or at least that's maybe how the two of you saw it, is it may have seemed to you that this person was the one who was more free-spirited about going. But I think that was like not correct. I think this person was like actually much more like emotionally and romantically attached to you even in that lifetime, but you may not have seen that. To you, it may have seemed like you were the one more interested in developing the relationship. Maybe this person just played it cool, so it seemed like they were not as bothered by it. I think you, strangely enough, in that past lifetime that we looked at, even though you didn't have the worldly success that they did, like it wasn't a public success or like a professional type of success, in terms of your level of interest in really like developing your skills and talents, like, wow, you did that. Especially your skills in terms of like utilizing spiritual power and spiritual forces. You were a master witch or something. I don't know. So anyway, ended up being a long reading. That was so interesting. I really hope that you found it helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, welcome to everyone who chose option number 2, this image right here. So we have a lot of cards to work through. When I did option number 1, it ended up being such an interesting reading. So we're going to be looking at a past lifetime and the person that you're thinking of shared. As I said in the introduction, this can be any person, friend, family, acquaintance, whoever, but someone you know in this lifetime, and you just have a feeling, or you just know somehow that you've had a past lifetime and you want to learn more about that. So we're going to be looking at the past lifetime. And these cards here just kind of indicate like the general, like what was going on in that lifetime that the two of you shared there. And then we have these other cards that we'll pull out in a moment that describe each of your personalities in that lifetime. And at the end of the reading, we're actually going to get a glimpse into a future lifetime that the two of you will share, and kind of get more of a sense of like, what's the shared soul journey about between you and this person? What are the two of you really trying to accomplish together? All right, so before I turn these over, they have keywords on the back. It says stuck, dream, and indecision. I feel like this feels like it could be more of a lifetime when this was a platonic sort of an interaction that the two of you had, or you just happened to know each other, like acquaintances maybe. It could have been more of an acquaintanceship. I feel like this person that you're asking about, in this past lifetime, they were very observant of you. They made a lot of observations of what was going on in your life. I think that you were much more just occupied with your own life. You really weren't paying that much attention to them. You had your own things that were going on. I feel like both of you had your own sort of struggles as well. With the keywords that we had, stuck, dream, and indecision, I feel like both of you had a shared theme in your life where you had certain things that you wanted to do, certain dreams that you wanted to fulfill, but you didn't know how to. This person could never figure out what they wanted to do. Their issue was more about indecision. Indecision, and it's like, what I'm also getting is that they weren't sure which... It's like they knew that if they made a choice, they would need to put a lot of hard work into that choice in order to fulfill that dream. Maybe they had a lot of dreams, but they weren't sure which one they should focus on. And they didn't want to like take on a lot of work or burdens for an option that, wasn't the right choice. So they just weren't making much of a choice. And they were just kind of living day by day. But I feel like they saw you making a choice or making choices. You were choosing a particular path, and you were taking on the burdens of having made that choice. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do in this lifetime. I may not be able to fulfill this dream or all of my dreams, but I'm going to make a choice and like try to put effort into this path at least and see how far I can get. But I do feel like there were a lot of obstacles. The path may have felt very slow to you. And it may have felt like, God, I am putting a lot of effort into this. I've chosen this path, but like, doesn't feel like I'm getting anywhere. So that was the shared energy in this lifetime. Both of you struggled to fulfill some dreams that you wanted to fulfill for yourselves. All right, now I'm going to pause and pull out the cards that describe their personality more so in this lifetime, because it takes me a while to get them arranged. Just a moment. Okay. All right, so that was a lot quicker than making you wait while I laid these out, but All right, so there's a lot going on here with this person. I feel, first of all, they either had children or they were doing something where they were definitely interacting with children. They were in charge of, teaching children or inspiring children with this teaching card. It may or may not have been specifically that they were a teacher, but they had some sort of influence or responsibility over children. We also have Leo in the 5th house. These are also very like childlike cards. I feel like this person, they were a very romantic person. And in fact, I feel like they had, with Heart, Nerd, Cancer, and Lover here, like I feel like they had a lot of romantic drama going on in their life. Like they were in love with love, and also with this Prince card, romantic charm and potential for power. Yeah, this person was like using their romantic charms over people a lot. With the broken arrow, embrace the energy of peace. For some reason, this just makes me think they were very relationship oriented, but maybe they weren't involved in just one specific relationship. And this is a weird message, and this could be triggering, but I'm just going to say it because I was kind of getting it as well from these initial cards. So just triggering. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to say it. I've given you the warning. But I just pulled these cards to clarify. I feel like this person could have been someone who was an adult who was attracted to children. And I feel like you actually were a child in this lifetime. Yeah, and I feel like that's what they may have also had romantic intentions towards you. Because they saw you as very bright, as having a lot of potential. They just saw a lot of qualities in you that they appreciated. This kind of reminds me, to be honest, because she actually was his teacher, like the president of France or prime minister or whatever his official title is. He and his wife met when he was in her drama class. So it's like that type of energy. Yeah, I think that you liked them as a person. I don't necessarily feel like it wasn't really the way that they felt towards you, which was more like about like, it was romantic, but more like erotic or sexual. Sorry, I gave the trigger warning. So, I mean, like, if this bothers you, I hope you just didn't. I mean, you should probably just not listen to any of the rest of this because, I mean, this is just a reality of things that happen in the world. But yeah, that's what I see. I mean, I feel like you probably liked them as a person. I don't think you necessarily wanted to be involved with them in that kind of a way. And I do think that it was, yeah. And I feel like it did cause you pain that they wanted that from you. It definitely did. It caused you pain that you may have been very naive about it at first too. Because I feel like you didn't know that that's what their goal was towards you. So it was like a grooming type of thing. But I feel like this person was involved with all kinds of people, adults too, you know. But clearly they liked people who were younger and vulnerable to their sort of charms and kind of like romantic manipulations. You know, this could have been like some sort of narcissistic, grandiose thing to them where they just needed to feel like constantly like, oh my God, everybody is so into me. Like everybody gets so hot for me, you know. I'm the hot teacher that everybody wants to be with or whatever. But, I mean, I feel like they didn't really feel that they were doing anything wrong by doing any of this. I feel like from their point of view, they felt like they were just living a very passionate life. And like, you know, maybe there were certain dreams they had that they weren't able to fulfill, but they felt like they were able to fulfill this particular aspect of life. What was the thing about them they didn't get to fulfill? To be honest, it feels more like they made you get stuck somehow in life when you were just trying to fulfill some dream. And maybe initially you saw them as someone who could help you to fulfill some sort of ambition that you had, who had something to teach you and help you. But that was just a ruse to kind of get you in the door for their other intentions, that they wanted to use you. I will say that in some sort of way, this person did not feel fulfilled in life. Still, though, they may have had sort of like depression issues as well, or like compared themselves to other people. Again, that's maybe why they relied on all of this like romantic drama and passion, like that, because I feel like the romantic sexual stuff, it was going on with a lot of people. They're just getting involved with all sorts of people, but in a more like sexual way, not like relationships. I mean, maybe they did that too, but like that may have been the area where they felt unfulfilled, is in terms of an actual partnership. They had a lot of quote unquote romance or like sex going on with a lot of partners, but like maybe they never really felt, they never had the emotional intimacy that they wanted. That's what they felt. I feel like they saw you as someone who was more capable of having that than them, just because you were a more authentic person. All right, let me look at your personality. Let me pull out those cards here. All right, so your personality here is that you were someone who was considering the career possibilities that were open to you. So we saw that from the beginning, right? You were considering the options and you made some sort of choice and you were trying to pursue that. And you felt like this is someone who could sort of teach you how to make that a reality. And we also have King, enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. So this is really like the Macrons from France. It's like, I think the option that you chose was something like that, where you would be in some sort of extremely important leadership position where you would have a lot of responsibility for people, quote unquote, in your charge. But we also have, in this lifetime, we have Snake, Shed Old Skin, Neptune, Sacrifice, Lunar Eclipse, Change, Clinger, and Vampire. I feel like, let me see, I'm just going to clarify. It's almost like either you sacrificed what you actually wanted out of life, which was this, to be like a king or not specifically a king, but like some sort of benevolent leader, that you wanted to be in this important leadership position. You may have sacrificed that, or it could have been taken or sucked from you, like the momentum to do that could have been sucked out of you from this person or something. Did you give it up for this person or no? Okay, no, you didn't give it up for this person. Let me see. Oh, so that's good. You didn't give it up for this person, but I feel like this clinger and vampire is actually their energy towards you. They were a clinger and they were a vampire. It's like they presented an extra obstacle for you to just go out here and fulfill what you wanted to fulfill. Like you just wanted to do something important. Like I think at some point you had to part ways with this person, and it hurt this person, even though they were older than you and they should have been more responsible for their emotions. It's like they put you into the position of you had to feel responsible for their emotions about losing you when all that you were doing was like fulfilling what you wanted to fulfill. I think that you did have compassion for this person. It's like you didn't want to hurt their feelings, but you had to shed them like a snake shedding its skin. You were just like, listen, I gotta change. Like, I can't get stuck. This person tried to get you stuck. Back to that stuck card. And that's part of the reason why I thought, even when I was looking at these cards initially, that it might be like an adult grooming a young person. It's because I feel like this person like was looking more at this younger person here. But it says stuck, right? You may be stuck because you were overly attached to a method or piece. This person may have convinced you for a while that they were the means by which you could achieve your goals in life. And they tried to like, they tried to overly influence you to feel that way, I think. And you really had to have the self-confidence to think beyond what they were saying to you. It was very cultish almost. I think you just had to put yourself first. In the end, you just had to put yourself first and decide to just make all of your sacrifices for yourself. And just say, you know, like, this person's got to figure their own stuff out, you know? It's like, you're just like, I think you were just wise enough to see the bigger picture. Like, it's not my job to figure out why this person is the way that they are or how they can get out of that energy and be something different. You know, you saw that this person's mentality was really blocking them to their own options in life, but you couldn't solve that for them. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you did care about them, though. Like, you cared about them as a person in terms of, like, you didn't want them to be hurting or anything like that. You didn't want to hurt their feelings. All right, so I'm going to clear the table a little bit, and then we're going to take a peek into a future lifetime that you and this person may share. Hold on just a moment. All right, so we're still here with group 2. So the keywords on the back of these cards say recycle, seed, and counsel. And it's very interesting. I'm going to turn these over because I'm going to look at the art as well and channel from that. But like, I feel like the two of you will have some sort of future lifetime where you are actually their teacher. Let me zoom in a little bit. But you're going to be showing them how to do that with integrity and like really be someone who actually cares about the student as a student. Like it's like more strictly like, I'm here to be your teacher. I'm here to help counsel you. You know, I'm here to help counsel and guide you so that you can achieve all of what you're meant to achieve in life and then go off and do what you need to do. So the two of you are recycling that theme or that dynamic from that previous lifetime and your future lifetime that I see here, so that you can teach each other how this sort of teacher-student relationship can exist in a way that's much healthier. And it's because you had that level of compassion for them and understanding of, well, this is a person who has, you know, some problems and hang-ups, that compassion that you felt in your soul for them carried over into, or carries over into your future lifetime with them, where it's more about respect. There's a respect here of like, hey, you have some things that you're trying to accomplish in your life that I can help you to achieve. And my motivation here is simply to do my job of, showing you the way. So it is a lot about respect. And I think in this future lifetime, as they become an adult and then you're both adults, there continues to be a sort of spirit of friendship, but it's very respectful. There are healthy boundaries, all of that. Having the intention to grow like a seed and bloom is at the heart of creativity. I do feel like with this card in the middle, even in this future lifetime, there might be still like a little bit of a hangover from that past lifetime where you still are picking up on it, because we have this Cupid here, but the Cupid is kind of like, it's like parts of it are a little bit cut out. So it's like you're still having to overcome that in some sort of way in order to be someone who is staying in your integrity and being respectful. But you're doing this because your souls, the challenge that your souls decided to teach each other was about manifestation. Because you're both people with big dreams, right? These are both souls who wanted to figure out, how do I manifest my dreams? Yeah. It's like there is still a sort of like awkward energy where in the future lifetime, yeah, it's like, and sometimes you may want to create even like more of a boundary between yourself and them than is necessary. Because it's like you're very wary of that. It's like almost like you can feel that energy imprint from the previous lifetime of where this person in the past lifetime was the teacher and they took advantage of you. So even in the future lifetime, when you're the teacher and you're not taking advantage and you're simply being like a guide and giving them wise counsel and being helpful to them, it's like there's still some sort of like awkward energy that's felt between the two of you. That does create a little bit of a burden between both of you. Or awkwardness. But there is still also like mutual respect, I feel like. Anything final to say about the shared soul journey between these two people? Well, there are lifetimes when the two of you are lovers, you know, so just, well, I guess you were in the past lifetime, but it was through manipulation. It was because this person manipulated you. But there also will be lifetimes where the two of you will have like a healthy, some sort of healthy romantic relationship and or just friendship. Tell me what. Or like, okay, it could just be your souls are really trying to help each other understand healthy boundaries. I would say that's basically what it is. Like, how can each of us have healthy boundaries? Because this person's energy was so like clinging and needy and like draining you in that past lifetime. It's like the two of your souls had to teach each other, how can we not be like that to each other? And, you know, and like from your end, like, how can you not like overgive to them? I think maybe was more your challenge. And from their end, like, how can they be more autonomous and not like drain you? You may be, I mean, you're definitely the more mature soul here. So it could be that your soul has just learned a lot of these lessons already. And even at the soul level, you decided to be a sort of mentor to this person throughout lifetimes. Yeah. So I do feel like this is a situation where your souls actually incarnate with each other a lot in a lot of different dynamics where you have, because boundary issues can happen in friendships, they can happen in family relationships, they can happen in a school setting, as we saw here. They can happen in romantic relationships, like codependence and that over dependence and just toxic relationship dynamics. They can happen in any kind of context. And that seems to be like the overall theme that the two of you incarnate together on, so that your soul can sort of guide this person to let go of that need for detachment, or their perceived need for detachment. They need to learn to be more autonomous, basically. That's a particular goal that their soul has been really working on throughout multiple lifetimes, and you've been helping them to learn that. I feel like it definitely takes a toll on you in probably all of these lifetimes, this person's energy, but your souls chose to do this, right? But like, it takes a toll on you, it takes a toll because this person like does not know. In multiple lifetimes, they can't figure, once they're in their incarnation, it's like they cannot figure out how to manage their emotions on their own without like just sucking someone else dry. So that's just what they keep doing. Any final guidance about this person? I feel like, if you're in a happy place in your life, if maybe even in this current lifetime, you've had to establish healthy, safe boundaries for yourself so that you can go off and do what you need to do in life and not get sucked into their cesspool. Don't feel guilty about that. I think that's what it is here. It's like that's part of how you are guiding them is through like, creating the separation that you need here and not allowing them to drain you. Because every time you do that, when the two of you incarnate together, it forces them to have to figure out how to become more autonomous. And from your end, it's okay to be happy, even if this person's not being happy, because that's just part of their lesson is to figure that out. So I hope that is helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, welcome to everybody who chose option number 3, which was this image right here. We're going to look at this pile in a moment. It has some other cards under it, and that's going to be a glimpse into a future lifetime that you might have with this person. But let's look at the past lifetime pretty thoroughly first. So again, like I said in the intro, this could be any person, in this current lifetime that you feel you've had some sort of relevant past lifetime with and you want to learn more about it. I am feeling like, I chose these cards randomly, but you have 2 images here which depict Native Americans. And so I did clarify with the tarot just to see, and I feel like the past lifetime that we're looking at with the 2 of you is one in which the 2 of you were part of a native or indigenous tribe of so that's what I'm getting there. But in terms of like what your all's dynamic was in that lifetime, I feel like it was a friendship, and it was a really mutually supportive friendship. I do feel that you probably were both elders within this particular tribe that you were in. You were both people who, at some point in your lives and in your connection to each other, you each held some sort of important status within the tribe. And the keywords for these cards are habits, willpower, and nature. I think that the 2 of you, like I said, it was mutually supportive. You both helped each other to develop strong, I think in particular, leadership habits. You helped each other to really stand in your power in a leadership role, in your respective leadership roles. And this also says, use your willpower to bravely overcome thoughts of compromise and defeat. So I feel like you know, whatever your leadership, I can't speak. Why am I so tongue-tied in this reading? Whatever your leadership positions involved, I think it required bravery. And then with the nature card, I mean, I feel that you probably were out in nature with this person a lot. The two of you together were in nature a lot. And maybe hunting or things like that. But for whatever reason, I feel the two of you had a mutual shared love of the natural world and a strong connection to it. So that's what I'm getting. I think on your end, you may have had stronger family ties than this person did. I think they may have been more of a lone wolf. They could have even been an orphan or something like that. And they had to more so fend for themselves in life. I really feel like they, in particular, I have a feeling that their mother may have passed when they were young. But I also just feel like they may have largely been unsupervised, or they had to grow up quickly because, like I said, maybe they were an orphan, something along those lines. But I think that you didn't have that same condition in your life. I think that you actually had a lot of family support. You had a cohesive family unit. And I think you may have invited this person into your family a little bit. And I think that they really appreciated that you did that. You know, it gave them a sort of more of a sense of safety and more of a foundation for themselves, that you made them feel like they were family, that they were a part of your family unit. That was a point of pride for them as well. They felt proud to be associated with you. Now I'm going to pull out these cards. I'm going to pause my recorder when I do it because it takes me a while to lay them out. And in the other videos, I felt like pulling out their energy first to read more into their personality. For some reason, I'm wanting to look at your all's first. So we'll see what this is. Okay. Yeah, so I ended up pulling out the cards for both sides, which is, you all are the first reading of this video where I have done that. But this over here describes your energy in that past lifetime, and this describes their energy in that past lifetime. So I think there are a lot of similarities between the two of you. I think that you both saw that. That was a big basis of your friendship, is that you were similar on a lot of levels, but that you also had different experiences as well. I think they actually had a lot more struggles in life than you had. But let's look at you first. So we have animals again and priests. So again, I felt that before, but I really feel like both of you really had a strong spiritual connection even to the natural world. And maybe you experienced sort of communication with animals or with other aspects of nature. You're very connected to spirit through encounters with animals or omens or signs from the natural world. I get a sense here, on this side it literally says shaman, you know, so, but I also feel like with priests and animals over here, there is like a feeling of shamanism on both sides. So that may have been the type of leadership position that you were each in, that there was a sort of shamanic elder role that you each were playing within this tribe. I think that you really enjoyed a lot of happiness and success in your particular lifetime. I think that you had some sort of romantic relationship that was life-changing, a really important romantic relationship. And I feel like that took a lot of your focus. I think that this person probably operated more solo in life. You know, like I said before, they may have been an orphan as a child, but I think even as an adult, they may not have found the same kind of companionship that you found. I just feel like this is someone who was much more withdrawn than you were. And they probably were someone who took the passion that you maybe put into some sort of romantic relationship. It feels like you were in some sort of romantic soulmate relationship that was really significant, that took a lot of your energy. Divinely guided, I feel like. Divinely guided romantic relationship. I feel like this person, instead, they put their passions and energy into learning. They liked to increase their knowledge of the world, spiritual knowledge, how to tap into the powers of the earth. Yeah, definitely they really felt a very strong personal connection to Mother Gaia and the plant and animal life. I feel like this is a person who kind of found solitude in all of that. It's not like they didn't have romantic feelings for anyone or anything like that, but it's like nothing really solidified for them. And maybe this was a result of childhood, of some sort of abandonment issues and that type of thing. But yeah, even in this picture, this person's on an island, It's not like they weren't attracting romantic attention. I just feel like they didn't really know how to cohesively connect with another human being in that type of relationship. But they did really value the leadership position that they were in. But I feel like even in their leadership position as a shaman, you were maybe as a shaman like out front and center much more. And this person may have been someone who needed to go within a lot and take a lot of inner journeys, that type of thing, to connect to spirit. They were doing more like deep healing work. This may have been more of, they were like a deep healer. Because they understood the shadow aspects of life more, because I think they struggled with that. In fact, they did have some sort of addiction that they struggled with. But beyond that, I feel like their destiny was about struggle. That's what they chose in that lifetime. They chose to experience particular struggles so that they could learn how to overcome them. This is a very like wounded healer type of energy. They had their own personal wounds, which were very deep. And those personal wounds led this person to seek ways of healing. And they sought that in a more intuitive way. But they sought that knowledge in any way that they could. They would also consult with people who already had wisdom, to learn from the wisdom that existed externally to them in the quote-unquote real world. But also they would go within and they would connect to spirits and the spirits in the natural world. They had a lot of trust in higher forces, and they were very connected to these higher forces. They were shown the way a lot. I see just like a lot of like shamanic journeying type thing, like very, I can't think of the right words. Very, almost kind of like primal, a very primal connection to spirituality. Your energy in that lifetime was much more lighthearted. But the two of you did, like I said, you really respected each other. You each had your own particular destiny. This person's destiny was that they had to struggle with, a more of a difficult time finding happiness. They were a very deep, solemn, kind of a sorrowful person. You were more bright and sunny. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for the past lifetime and what was happening between the two of you. I'm going to clear these cards. We're going to look at a glimpse into a future lifetime that the two of you will share, and then we'll get more insights into like, what is it? What's the kind of bond that your two souls have, like the particular theme that the two of you, or what is it that ties your souls together that you would want to keep incarnating together? So give me just a moment here to lay out the other cards. All right. So I feel again that there may be also like some sort of indigenous life that the two of you will share in the future as well. So that may just be kind of a long-standing preference that the two of you have, or there could be a desire to repeat that type of experience. But I also feel like in the future lifetime that we're glimpsing into, it feels like it is most likely a romantic relationship. We have Nagas, lovers, erotic sensuality, and I think, yeah, you probably will have a romantic relationship with this person, and also have a child or children with them. That's what I feel. Now, the keywords on the back of these cards are nurture, wounds, and precision. And so what I feel like is in this future lifetime, the two of you will share, because in that other lifetime, you had an easier life in a lot of ways, much happier, and you got to experience a joyful romantic connection of your own. And you didn't have to kind of be on your own. You had the support that you needed. In the future lifetime, you're going to be that support to them, because it's not easy for their soul to allow that in for some reason. Their soul has a difficult time being receptive to being nurtured and being cared for within a romantic relationship. So you're going to kind of like wrap your energy around that person in this future lifetime that I see, and help restore this person's soul, you know, because there are a lot of deep wounds, and I feel like this could come from multiple lifetimes. But it's also part of course, what their soul is choosing to experience. The desire to do things precisely is useful as long as it does not devolve into rigidity. But this person could also be like, even at the soul level, it's almost like their soul itself is a little bit addicted to hardship. It's like their soul never chooses an easy incarnation. And I think that in a future lifetime, you have to kind of come in. It's almost like an intervention, like where you incarnate to kind of show them, like, listen, it doesn't always have to be so hard. You can just relax and have a life that is more of ease and enjoyment. So that's interesting. And so that's part of your complete cycle with each other. That doesn't mean that will be the last lifetime, but you know, this is like a theme of yours. It's not even about romantic love, although in this future lifetime that we're glimpsing into, it will be romantic, but it's the lesson of it has less to do with romance and more to do with teaching this person how to allow themselves to simply relax and enjoy an incarnation, and allow them to be blessed within an incarnation, and not feel like they always have to be striving and striving and striving so hard. Let's see. Yeah, because I feel like for you guys, your soul has been very open to knowing what it's like to experience being blessed. This person's soul has been more open to experiencing what it's like to have hardship. And actually, both of you kind of need to balance out a little bit more, right? They need to be able to allow in the sunshine, let the sunshine in through the window, and not be, like so distraught in every lifetime. Like they don't need to be always choosing those difficult experiences. And you could kind of like cool it with always choosing such a blessed life so that your soul can learn a little bit more from struggle, you know. So if that doesn't sound like you or what your, you know, experience is, then, you know, just take it for what it's worth. These energies could be switched, or maybe this reading isn't meant for you. I definitely, if you're someone who's experienced a really difficult life, I do not want to downplay that at all. So, but of course, this is true for some souls do choose, you know, to experience more blessed incarnations. Everyone has their struggles though, regardless. I'm curious to look at like what your all's current lifetime is like. What is the life like currently with you guys, and how does it fit this theme? Okay, so we have lots of cups cards. So that I feel like, again, this feels like, even to me now, like this could be more of a friendship. But whatever it is, there is a lot of love here. You know, we have the Ace of Cups representing them. We have the Ten of Cups in between the two of you. So there's like a feeling of family. You know, whether this is friendship or romantic, or the two of you are family or coworkers or whatever, there's still like that feeling of family almost. And then there's the Two of Cups reversed over here, which again makes me feel like maybe even in this lifetime, you're the one who's in a relationship and they're not, because this is the Ace of Cups. Or it could be in this lifetime you're refusing the blessing of having a beautiful soulmate relationship, or you, at least you are for now. So that you, again, with the Wheel of Fortune reversed, maybe in this lifetime you're choosing not to experience certain blessings that you had before in other lifetimes. So yeah, it could be that your soul is choosing sort of a delay in that area of your life. In this, like Seven of Pentacles, you're choosing to wait longer. Like that romantic relationship fulfillment, you're choosing not to allow it to come in as easily in this lifetime or something. But in this lifetime, this person is kind of choosing the same solo experience that they usually choose, or that they have chosen before. They're still, see, you're more willing to try a different path. I guess that's what's happening here. You're like, okay, I've had the blessings before that came easily with the soulmate love experience, and it was great in that past lifetime that we looked at. You're like, in this lifetime, it's not that you are never going to have it, but you're definitely allowing it to be withheld from you for longer. And yeah, so that it's like you're having the blessing held back from you in this lifetime. Which could also be, if some of you are wondering, like, why am I still single? Or why haven't I found the one? Like, you know, that would be it. Because your soul is making that choice so that it can have a different experience. Because it's had ease. Your soul has already experienced ease in that area of life. So you're varying it more. And this person just keeps choosing hardship and solitude, hardship and solitude, hardship and solitude. And it looks like they're doing it in this lifetime as well. But yeah, they still have a very strong focus on being a healer. It seems like they really want to be healing people or healing the world in some way. So they're very like all about living some sort of soul mission, which is beautiful. But there's a lot of self-denial that seems to come in the process. And I feel like there's also an energy between the two of you. It's like there's this feeling of family, but there's also this feeling of having to hold back a lot of conflict. It's like both of you sometimes get angry with each other, you know. But it's like you bite your tongue and you hold it back and you don't express it when you're angry with each other. This is another dynamic that the two of you seem to be working out in this lifetime. I think it comes from some sort of fear. There's some sort of fear here of your lives going in different directions. And it's sort of like, if our lives end up going in different directions, it's so scary. That's so scary to the two of you that you're so afraid to even bring up any sort of conflict, because you're afraid somehow it'll make you lose each other. But it might end up being a self-fulfilling prophecy if you don't learn how to address conflict within your all's relationship, whatever that happens to be, friendship, family, romantic, whatever it is now. You have to be able to figure out, how do you bring up issues of conflict so that you can work through that and trust that that is actually what's going to allow you to have this stability, not avoiding that. So I hope that was helpful. Let's see, are there any final thoughts here? I just feel like development of communication skills is really going to be important for the two of you regarding whatever kind of relationship it is, because I feel like the two of you really care about each other and don't want anything to come between whatever this relationship. I feel for most of you this is a friendship, but whatever this relationship is, you don't want anything to come between it. But that's good. You have to learn conflict resolution skills, maybe. Maybe that's good. Communication skills and conflict resolution. Whatever it is, you're both very smart. You both care enough about each other to do what you need to do and to learn what you need to learn in order to ensure that, you know, you can salvage this and allow it to be long-lasting as both of you want it to be. But you'll have to learn and then utilize those conflict management skills, right? Just conflict avoidance, I feel like that in the long run is probably going to be something that actually does drive a wedge rather than being the glue that holds you together. So I hope that helps, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, welcome to everybody who chose option number 4 with the horses and the kind of greenish blue house in the background, or building, whatever it is. Okay, so we're going to look at a few different things. First, we're going to start out looking at these cards to get the general sense of what was going on between you and this person in this past lifetime that you shared. And like I said in the intro, in the current lifetime, this could be anybody that you know, and you just have a feeling that you've had a past lifetime. So this is going to describe what was the general interaction between the two of you, the dynamic and relationship that you had in that past lifetime. And then we have a group of cards explaining more about your personality in that lifetime and their personality. And then with these cards, we're actually going to have a glimpse into a future lifetime that the two of you will share. And also this stack will give us a little bit more information on the kind of general theme or reason that your two souls want to reincarnate together. You know, what's the overall lesson that the two of you are working on? Okay, so the keywords on the back of these cards say contest, secrets, and visualize. And I feel like what was going on in this past lifetime is that this person was either an employer of you, or they could have been like actually leading up some sort of contest or something. But whatever it was, like you were being asked to compete with other people because this person was overseeing you in some way. So they could have been like some sort of ruler or boss, but they had some sort of dominion over you, which required you to compete with other people in order to gain favor with this person, or in order to reach some particular goal that this person has said, you need to reach this goal. And all of you people need to reach this goal. And, you know, there was pressure to be the one who performed the best in some way. Okay, so that's what I'm getting first of all. Let me see if there's anything else I'm picking up. In terms of the keyword secrets, what I'm feeling too is that there was a lot of information that was withheld from you and other employees or competitors or whoever this was. The person in power, who was the person you're asking about, but in this lifetime they had this power over you. They had hidden reasons for why they wanted you to fulfill this particular goal. And I think you were just being dutiful and doing what you were asked and doing what was expected of you and trying to perform as best as possible. But there was some sort of secretive, hidden motivation here. I think on your end, you really just had good intentions. I feel like this person wanted to be happier, for one thing. This person could never be happy. It's like nothing was ever enough for them. No matter how much this person had, nothing could ever fill them. I just came across this saying recently, actually, like, you can never have enough of something you don't need. So sometimes we chase those things that we think that we need, and then there's never enough. There's never enough, It's like, I need a bigger house than what I had. I need a bigger boat. I need, more money, more status, more this and more that. I kind of get that feeling here. It's like this person they were in some sort of position of power that they could wield over you and other people, but whatever they were having you to do, it never sacrificed them. So in terms of a secret, conceal plans and actions from those not ready to accept you as you are. I think that there was something about this person that maybe, even though they were in a position of power, they still couldn't be entirely their true self and fit in. This may have been someone who was in some sort of, they were at the top of some hierarchy. So it could have been they were born into a family of wealth and influence and power, or that they were just at the top of some corporate ladder or something like that. But I feel like there was something about them that they could not fulfill because they couldn't be true to themselves in some way. It would not have been accepted by their family or by their other people at the top of this ladder of power. To some extent, I feel actually part of the secret is that this person, no matter how good it seemed that they had it, because they had all this power and wealth and control, they just wanted freedom. That's really what they wanted. And they couldn't have the freedom that they really desired. And they weren't able to enjoy the fruits of the supposed abundance that they had. We have the 9 and the 10 of Pentacles. I feel like you probably didn't have as much monetarily speaking, but you may have been more satisfied in an emotional sense. Still maybe not entirely satisfied, but I think that you more or less, you were able to go with the flow in life. Sometimes you felt better and happier, sometimes you didn't, but you were always able to kind of pick yourself up and dust yourself off and find some reason to enjoy life. This person, I guess that's the big secret, is that maybe part of the reason this person may have been cruel or cold or dismissive towards you other people. I don't think that you necessarily had a close personal relationship with them anyway, but their energy and the way that they maybe put down orders or rules or set expectations came across as cruel or too judgmental or critical, like extremely critical. You know, nothing is ever good enough. Nothing is ever good enough for this person, is what it seemed like in that lifetime. And it was coming from this place of just, they were not happy. You know, they were not happy, even though other people would have thought, like, wow, don't you have it all, though? You know, you've got wealth, you've got power and prestige and influence and all of that, but they just weren't happy. So let's look a little bit more into their personality. I'm going to pause and lay out these cards that are more about them as a person. All right. So I feel like, I do feel like this person was probably female. It's hard to say. It could have been either one. And of course, this is a group reading. But I feel like they, so we have hedonist and children. Hedonist says, inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in yourself. This person had a lot of excess in their life. They had a lot of excess of money, of food, of beauty. You know, this is someone who may have been like royalty or something like that, but they, or just someone who was very wealthy. They had a lot of leisure time as well. I kind of feel like with the children card, it could be like they were expected to have children. Like they were expected to reproduce, like that was part of their social expectation to fulfill whatever role in society they were playing. We also have Lord, take charge with authority. So they definitely, like I said, they were in some position of rulership. But I feel like it's probably more like something they were born into. And we also have Solar Eclipse Revolution and Grand Cross Provoker. I feel like this person just wanted to be in a different role than what they were. Or they wanted to have more freedom. They felt stuck. They felt very stuck and confined, despite the opulence and the abundance and the overindulgence which was available to them. Let's see. And at the bottom we have admirer, magician, and dancer. I feel like this person did have talents, like maybe some sort of artistic talents. It could have been in particular that they were a skilled dancer. They were good. Let's see here. I think also they were good at making other people in their own social set. They were good at making other people happy in some way, or they wanted to make circumstances better for people in their own social set. I feel like, yeah, they felt a lot of obligations to that. They were obligated to other people themselves. Even though they had you and other people working for them, they also had heavy obligations upon them. I think they were generally good at meeting whatever those obligations are. I keep trying to figure out this dancer card. I don't think this is literal. I think that the dancer card is that they kind of had to dance around meeting other people's expectations a lot. They had to be very socially adept at being who this person wants me to be, and then in this context, I need to be who this person wants to be. They had to have this sort of fluidity and adaptability. And what does admire have to do with it? What is this? Well, I think that they had a lot of people who admired them for their ability to navigate this lifestyle that they had. They navigated it very well. They were a very, very adept at navigating this world of wealth and privilege and power. they met people's expectations. People who were in their tier or higher, who expected them to meet these expectations, they did. They met those expectations very well. But it was like there was a lack of fulfillment because they could not bring about some sort of change. They just felt very inhibited. What is it that they wanted to bring about? I think that they wanted more time alone or something. Like they wanted more leisure time to just be alone and not around other people so much. They were required to be a very social person. I think that's what it is. Like maybe go to a lot of events. There were just people always around them. And it's like, regardless of how many people were around them, it inhibited them from actually forming like a really close personal bond with just one person, you know? Because let's say, I feel like this probably was someone who was a royal. And like, let's say that they were in a marriage or in a romantic relationship or something. Like there just would have been people around all the time. And that would have kept them from being able to like really just open up and express themselves and just be one-on-one with the person that they were in love with. Okay. So that's what I'm getting basically. Yeah. They just felt like there wasn't an ability to be who they really wanted or to have the relationships that they really wanted. Even if they did have a close personal relationship, like a marriage with someone, that's not who they wanted to be with. They may have also been expected to marry a particular person, and they just wanted out of the whole situation. All of it felt extremely confining to them. Okay, so that's who they were. So let's pull out some cards and look more about you. Okay, so here and over are the cards for you. I feel like for you, you had way more personal fulfillment. You felt extremely fulfilled. You had a rebellious side as well, but that rebellious aspect, that independent streak inside of you was able to release itself. You were much more capable of being your true self. You also were a loner. And I think it's interesting we have Priestess over here and we had the High Priestess card coming up over here for them. So you had similar energies in terms of like kind of needing time alone to sort of connect to your inner knowing, to sort of go within. There's a lot of like contemplative activity going on with both of you. And for you, you got to fulfill that way more. You didn't have to be surrounded by people all the time. I think even in the work that you were doing, which was something that was some sort of obligation to this person, right? Although I don't feel like the two of you really knew each other that well. We have artist up here. It says engaging in artistic activities is beneficial to your career and every other area of your life. And then we have rescuer, provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectations of reward. You just genuinely got to do things that you enjoyed. Even when you were working a quote-unquote job or like duty, you had some sort of duty to perform that you were expected to. Like it was coming from a place of love and self-fulfillment. Also with the Sun card, it's like you had this sense of vitality and freedom to truly express yourself for all of who you are. With Black Moon Lilith, you know, there were certain things in life that confined you, but you had a very strong rebellious spirit, especially in your perceptions. Your perceptions, the way that you looked at the world was very unique. You were very different from a lot of people, but there was nothing that was holding you back too much from really expressing that. You know, there are always going to be some level of inhibitions or people who push back against us when we're like that. So I do feel like you experienced it on some level, but it wasn't at the level that this person's like social status and social standing required of them. And whereas this person, they were meeting a lot of expectations and supporting a lot of people, dancing around, being who everyone wanted and expected them to be, they weren't really doing it from a place of love. They were doing it actually more from a place of obligation, but you were doing it out of love. It wasn't out of any sort of expectation of reward. It was generally like, this is what I want to do with my life. You really actually had a lot of choice over your life. So that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like you may have felt in that lifetime, or it may have seemed in that lifetime, that you didn't have as many choices as this person. But interestingly enough, even though this person wasn't as inhibited financially as you, in terms of their life choices, they were far more inhibited than you. You know, you really did get to make, primarily, for the most part, you got to make the choices you wanted in life. All right, so that was the past lifetime that you shared. Let's skip ahead and look at a future lifetime that the two of you will share, and also dig deeper into kind of the overall theme of why the two of you reincarnate together. All right, group 4. So this is a sneak peek into a future lifetime that you will share. I have had so much difficulty speaking in this video. Okay, so we have truth, preparation, and play. So this is the card that represents them in the future lifetime. Our work can and should take on the quality of play, for it is play that stimulates creativity. And you are represented by this card. An honest desire to know and speak the truth produces beneficial results. The energy between the two of you is preparation. Luck comes most often to the person and the place where preparation, opportunity, and skill meet. And then we have this underlying card that says shadow self, denial, projecting, and shame. So it's interesting because I feel like it's almost like your positions are going to be switched in the future lifetime. You're going to be having a lot more obligations, and you'll be much more restricted in your choices. There is going to be a lot expected of you. I don't get the sense necessarily of like opulence and overindulgence. There might be some level of privilege here that you have, but mostly it's a lot of expectation. Let me pull a clarifier card. Okay, we've got the devil and the sun. You're going to be in the spotlight in some kind of way. And I think that there are a lot of temptations for you. It's like you'll be tempted for overindulgence. You'll be tempted towards greed, I feel like, in particular. There'll be some sort of temptation for greed. For greed, or you may be tempted to use people in a way. And I feel like the challenge for you in this future lifetime is to continue to be someone who acts with integrity, who acts truthfully and honestly, and who doesn't give in to these temptations. I don't necessarily think that you have the wealth privilege that they do, but you do have like way more restrictive obligations than they do. And it's also a challenge for you to make other people happy. Your job is to make other people happy, kind of like what theirs was in the past lifetime. So it's somewhat different, but there's similar themes. And on their end, I feel like they finally get a lot more freedom to just go ahead and express their independence, to be exactly who they want to be in that lifetime. And interestingly enough, I feel like they still have financial ease. They're not really having to worry too much about money. I don't think it's not like they're at the level of royalty or anything like that. They're just like comfortable, like comfortable middle class or like upper middle class type of a thing going on here, where, they don't really have a lot of worries about money, and they have enough that they can also give to people who are less fortunate. I feel like overall, whatever their wealth is in that future lifetime, they feel pretty good about it. But I also do get a sense that it's wealth that they've earned. So it's wealth that they've worked for and they feel proud of it in this future lifetime. It wasn't just something that they were born into. And they also are proud of their ability to use that money however they want. Whereas in the past lifetime, even though they had a lot of money, they didn't always get to necessarily use it exactly how they wanted. Yeah, I think, in fact, this person might be like overly adventurous or overly playful. They're really getting into, sometimes they overspend as well. This could be someone who's not super careful with their money. That's one way that they like to use their independence, because in the past lifetime, their money was so kind of constrained. In this future lifetime, their soul wants to kind of splurge and just be like, oh, I can do whatever I want with my money, so I'm going to, So I think they will have some kind of ups and downs in their finances. Definitely it's not financial ease that they had before, but they're enjoying it more. They're enjoying their life. They're enjoying what they have, which is interesting because before they had a lot, but they weren't really enjoying it. I don't necessarily see you being unhappy exactly, but it's just like the whole focus of your life in the future is making other people happy. So what is the interaction? I get that. I really feel like even in this future lifetime, the two of you are not really going to know each other very well. Yeah, we have 10 of Cups reversed. I feel like you come from different backgrounds. You come from different families who maybe know of each other. Maybe you do know of each other, but there's a feeling that it's just like you kind of have an awareness of who the other person is, but you don't really know who they are. What is preparation trying to say? I do think, though, okay, so in terms of like why the two of you keep incarnating together, part of it goes back to this shadow thing, denial, projecting, and shame. Because both of you in certain lifetimes might be projecting onto the other person like, well, this person's just got it made, like they've got everything that I want. It's sort of like the grass is always greener. But like the person who you think who has it better, they feel trapped. So I think that it is each of these lifetimes where the two of you are projecting so much onto the other as like, oh, they've just got it made. That's sort of preparing each of you to do something, some sort of lifetime where you do come together more. So we haven't seen it in the past lifetime, and we haven't seen it in the future lifetime. In terms of how we incarnate, everything is not always linear. And the way that we learn our lessons may not necessarily be linear in terms of, time moving in a linear fashion the way that we understand it. The soul can collect and pull experience from any moment in time, past, present, or future. But there's something here where your souls are meant to collaborate more openly in some lifetime. And these lifetimes where you don't know each other very well, but you're doing this projection, it helps the two of you to prepare for that. There will be a lifetime, I think, other than the ones we've mentioned, where you will be responsible for providing some sort of occult or esoteric knowledge to this person who, again, will be in some sort of position of rulership. A boss, someone who's a royal or something like that, but you will be providing them with some sort of occult information, and somehow the ability for your soul to understand what it's really like for this person to be in that kind of social role as an emperor or a king or a queen or whatever. That understanding will be implanted in your soul somehow, which will allow you to collaborate more effectively with them in whatever that lifetime is. Yeah, so it's like it creates this sort of like compassion and understanding. Like you're able to more clearly see who they are and what their limitations are than you would if you hadn't had these experiences where you were challenged with limitations and expectations yourself that kept you from your own happiness and independence. I hope that's making sense. It's like, sometimes we can sort of like resent people simply for having certain privileges, but your souls are learning how to, especially your soul is learning how not to resent someone simply for seemingly having a lot of privilege. It's something that's you're learning at your soul level. I think on their side, a challenge for their soul is to try to learn that sometimes they're getting themselves stuck. They may be projecting it onto their circumstances in certain lifetimes and saying, well, I'm in this social position that requires X, Y, and Z of me, and that's not fair. I feel so inhibited by that. But they're not, that their soul is trying to come to a greater understanding of the ability of choice. Even within those circumstances where their actual privilege seems to be creating limitations and restrictions for them, they still have room to move and choose how they want to behave. And they could choose to leave behind all of the quote-unquote good stuff, right? That's always a choice as well, if what they want is more freedom. So their soul is having to understand that too, which I think is why in this future lifetime that we saw, they will have less wealth and they won't be so attached to the wealth, because they're more of a spendthrift. They're like, yeah, if I want something, I'll just spend money on it. And they find the freedom in that of like not having to like hold on to and maintain wealth. Which in the past lifetime, that was part of their obligation too, I think, is that they had to maintain the estate or maintain the family wealth. And there was a lot of emphasis on like holding on. And when their soul learns, like letting go actually allows you to have that freedom that your soul really wants. That's a really great lesson for them. So I think that's all I've got for you guys. That was a really interesting journey that we took. I hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.